Have you ever stopped and wondered how much of your life is hidden inside the money you earn? Not dollars, not bank balances, not investments. Life, actual life, the hours you spend working, the energy you spend solving problems, the attention you give every day. Because according to Your Money or Your Life by Vicki, Robin, and Joe Dominguez, that may be the most important financial question most people never ask. The book begins with an observation that feels surprisingly familiar. Many people spend years trying to earn more money. They get promotions, they switch jobs, they work longer hours, their income increases. Yet somehow the feeling of financial freedom never quite arrives. Instead, expenses rise. Expectations rise, stress remains, and the finish line keeps moving. The authors invite us to pause and look at this pattern, because maybe the goal was never simply to make more money. Maybe the goal was always to build a life that feels meaningful. And that is where this book becomes different from many traditional personal finance books. It is not primarily about getting rich. It is about becoming conscious. The authors suggest that every dollar we earn represents something much more valuable than money. It represents life energy. Think about that for a moment. Every paycheck comes from hours of your life, hours that can never be recovered. When you work for 8 hours, you are not simply exchanging time for money. You are exchanging a piece of your life. Your attention, your energy, your focus. Once you begin to see money this way, something interesting happens. The question changes. Instead of asking, "Can I afford this?" you begin asking, "Is this worth the life energy required to earn it?" That single shift can completely transform the way a person thinks about spending. The authors encourage readers to calculate the true hourly value of their work, not just the number printed on a paycheck, but the real value after accounting for commuting, work clothes, meals, stress, and all the hidden costs associated with earning income. Many people are surprised when they do this exercise. They discover they are effectively earning much less than they assumed, and suddenly purchases look different. That new gadget is no longer just a few $100s. It might represent 20 hours of life, or 30, or 50. The purpose of this exercise is not guilt. It is awareness, because awareness creates choice. Without awareness, spending becomes automatic. With awareness, spending becomes intentional. The book then introduces another powerful idea. Track every dollar. At first, this sounds simple, almost too simple. But the authors explain that most people have only a vague idea of where their money goes. They know the major expenses. They know roughly what they spend. But they rarely see the complete picture. When people begin recording every expense, something fascinating happens. Patterns emerge, habits become visible, emotional spending becomes visible. Small leaks that seemed insignificant suddenly become obvious. The goal is not perfection. The goal is understanding, because you cannot improve what you do not understand. As readers continue this process, the book encourages them to evaluate each expense honestly. Did this purchase bring fulfillment? Did it genuinely improve life? Or was it simply a temporary distraction? This question is surprisingly powerful, because many people discover that some of their most expensive purchases bring very little lasting satisfaction. At the same time, some inexpensive experiences create tremendous happiness. A walk with a friend, a meaningful conversation, a hobby, time with family, a quiet afternoon without stress. These discoveries begin changing priorities. The authors argue that modern culture often encourages consumption without reflection. We are constantly told that happiness can be purchased, that success can be displayed, that more is always better. But the evidence often suggests otherwise. Many people earn more than previous generations ever imagined, yet they feel overwhelmed, busy, distracted, financially trapped. The problem may not be income, the problem may be the relationship with income. One of the most important ideas in the book is the concept of enough. Most people never define enough. Because they never define it, they continue chasing more. More income, more possessions, more status, more achievements. The destination remains unclear. The authors invite readers to ask a different question. What does enough look like for you? Not for society, not for your neighbors, not for social media, for you. How much is enough? How much space is enough? How much income is enough? How much consumption is enough? These questions are deeply personal, and the answers can be surprisingly liberating, because once a person defines enough, life begins to change. The endless race slows down, decisions become clearer, spending becomes more intentional. The authors are not suggesting that ambition is bad. They are not suggesting that money is unimportant. They are suggesting that money should serve life, not become life. This distinction changes everything. The book also challenges a common assumption about retirement. Many people spend decades working toward a future point where they can finally begin living. The authors question this approach. What if life does not begin after retirement? What if life is happening right now? What if financial independence is not about escaping work, but about creating freedom of choice? This idea leads naturally into one of the book's most influential concepts: financial independence. Financial independence is often misunderstood. Many people imagine enormous wealth, luxury lifestyles, early retirement. The authors describe something different. Financial independence means having sufficient resources so that your basic needs can be met without constantly trading more life energy for money. It is not about excess. It is about freedom. Freedom to choose. Freedom to say no. Freedom to spend time according to your values. The book encourages readers to see every financial decision through this lens. Does this choice increase freedom or decrease it? Does this expense support the life you want or move you further away from it? Gradually, these questions reshape behavior, not through force, not through restriction, but through clarity. And clarity is often more powerful than motivation. Toward the end of the book, the focus shifts from simply managing money to aligning money with purpose. Because once people understand their relationship with money, they can begin designing a life that reflects what truly matters. For some, that might mean working less. For others, it might mean pursuing meaningful work. For others, it could mean reducing unnecessary expenses and creating more time for relationships, creativity, or personal growth. The details vary. The principle remains the same. Money is a tool. Life is the goal. Perhaps that is why your money or your life has remained influential for decades. It does not promise quick wealth. It does not promise financial miracles. Instead, it offers something more valuable, a different way of seeing, a way of recognizing that every financial decision is also a life decision. Every dollar represents time. Every purchase reflects values. Every choice shapes the kind of life being created. And once you truly understand that connection, money stops being just numbers on a screen. It becomes a reflection of how you choose to spend your most valuable resource, your life. If this story stayed with you, if it made you pause, even quietly, then you may enjoy more stories like this. Subscribe to Thinkora Audio for timeless ideas told slowly, without noise or pressure. And if you'd like to explore this book further, you'll find the audiobook and reading links in the description below.